Whoa, we're back for some Bleach Soul Resonance, and I thought I would tackle a sort of new type of video, which is taking a look at the Reddit weekly questions Megathread for Bleach Soul Resonance. And without, any sort of grandstanding, let's just get into it rather than having to, explain this post. You get the idea. Bunch of questions specifically about the game and, what to do in this or that, avenue. Let's get into it, right? So, Phantom Thief Desire says, so overwhelmed with all the stuff in the game, lol, lots of modes and different pages to go through. I'm guessing I should just focus on getting through the story, and then maybe I'll be strong enough to tackle events and start getting pull currency for them. I'm missing out on some, but I didn't start on day one, so I'm not letting it bother me much. And let me actually go in-game, and we can talk about it a little bit. So here we are in-game proper, and I wanted to go over essentially my flow through my, my flow chart for when I started Bleach Soul Resonance. Of course, as someone who started on day one and even played the betas, I have a little bit more of a leg up in feeling comfortable with the game. But overall, what you're going to want to be doing when it comes to Bleach Soul Resonance is the same thing you want to do with a lot of gacha, though this might be your first gacha. And if it is, then you wouldn't have any sort of preamble for this, right? You wouldn't have any sort of context for this. Do your missions. Just go through them, see what you're ready to do. So if you have upgrade character skills 40 times, start doing it. Upgrade passive skills 9 times, start doing it. Clear unknown adventure number 2 monitoring zone 4, start doing it. And obviously, I don't mean that you're there. That is obviously the last portion of the actual event. But as you can see, I can't actually, look at the old one, right? So, for example, a lot of them were like, clear chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 is clear. Well, I need to get to chapter 3. Well, chapter 3 can't be unlocked until I'm X level. Well, how do I get X level? Well, I go into battle and then I spend stamina. Okay, let's spend stamina. What should I spend stamina on? Go to a character that's essentially your main. And a big thing with your main character, and assuming this person started around the time of the Gin banner or the Aizen banner, I'm going to assume they have one or the other. Get your main DPS, either Gin or Aizen, depending on which you chose, or pick a DPS that you essentially have. So this could be, Bikaku if you have him. This could be Toshido if you have him. You could be, Yoruichi if you have her. Just pick your DPS and start putting points into them. Make sure that you're just solely competing what is ever on this page. Again, I cannot go to the proper one. If it is still running, and I assume it is still running, I cannot show it because I have a played through account. But if it is still running, there are usually... Oh, wait, actually, I can go back. There are usually growth events and things that just say, hey, do this, do that, do this. And these will guide you as you play through the game, right? You could say that in a lot of ways, your first few days, even your first week, 2 weeks, etc., is sort of played for you. You're going to get on, you're going to check the events, you're going to do the events as much as you can do. You're going to get on, you're going to go to phase plan, you're going to see what you have left. You're going to try to do as many as you can. Oh, I need to complete main story chapter 3 extreme. I'm going to go to that site. I'm going to go to extreme. I'm going to see what it is that I need to do. I'm going to try to go through it. If I can beat them, that's enough. If I can't beat them, then we're going to continue to see, oh, well, level 45. Are all of my characters level 45? How do I get my characters to be level 45? It's just going to sort of repeat like that until you finish off all of this. The beginning of a gacha is the most fun part, typically because you have a very narrow, structured line. The thing about gacha that usually bounces people off is once they're done essentially beating the game, beating all of this stuff, they have a hard time finding motivation. They have a hard time finding their own fun. And that is where events come in. For me, as a free-to-play player, I get a lot of my enjoyment off of ranking in the leaderboards and doing pretty well, right? A top 2.3% Yoruichi completely free to play, top 7% on Mayuri, which is the rated up boosted one for this one. For a bit, I was top 50. You know what I mean? This is the sort of stuff I find pretty fun. Top 2 in my guild. I have been autoing this. I could have probably matched up, but I have been autoing this, so I've been less efficient than I should be, certainly. But, top 91 in Form of the Void. This is the current big fight on the game right now for at least 7 more days, and we're going to get our new character. I find fun in bringing you guys the assistance for these missions, right? So that is essentially the game in large. That is essentially every possible, gacha you can play. Sadly, like I said, I cannot refer to the infinite one that is usually here. Maybe it's not, maybe it doesn't even stay. Maybe it was only limited. I actually just do not know. But go through your phase plan and just go through these. Hey, clear adventure chapter 1. Oh, okay, I'll go do that. Clear adventure chapter 3. Oh, I need to be level 40 for that, my account level. I guess I'll use some stamina. Blah, 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 blah. And along the way, you're just going to be leveling up your characters to breakpoints. You can see here, a lot of my characters remained at 50 a long time into like the ends of the game. You can see Byakuya is level 60 here. Komamura was one of my main characters for the first like 3 weeks of the entire game, level 60, right? Like these were sort of the natural breakpoints. The only thing I can say, if you're still watching this, not the person who asked, but someone who's interested, is you will at some point acquire enough of the Koban to actually get the Stamp Nexus ticket, Stamp Nexus resources rather, and please do not use those Stamp Nexus resources without understanding the gear system, because as we go here, you do not get the access to level 30 gear without those materials, and they are some of the rarest in the entire game, arguably more rare than any other material in the game. I have 26 of them right now, and boy do they go fast when you're actually building characters. So you can see here that my Gin also has 2, right? But whereas no one else on my account has any. See that? Like, it's a special material. It's for us to wait and get, and it's for the whales to get as they want. So there is my answer there. Hopefully that was pretty succinct. Worth to invest in it? Let's go ahead and give that a look-see, huh? So here we have the piece. Gin, attack percent, slot 1, pretty good. Attack percent secondary. I looked and it said that the ult charge is their 4th stat. Crit damage, crit rate. This is an incredibly strong piece of gear. If you get something like this, you can essentially send this to level 30 without any problem at all. This has every stat that you could want. I did see someone kicking around numbers that Gin needs to sort of hit. Do take this with a grain of salt. Gin wants ailment damage unless you have him duped, at which point you can start really getting into his attack percent. So while I don't think Gin's like crit rate, crit damage is ever going to be like, whoa, bombastic like Aizen, I think the fact that he is flexibly built is what makes it so easy to just put gear on Gin and have a good time. But yeah, in general, this piece of gear is just so strong that you could send this to 25, no problem. You could even send it to 30 if the rolls go well. Particularly to me, into attack percent and probably the crit rate. Those two. But, neither here nor there. And here we are. When will native non-emulator controller support be added to global? They lied and said it was included in the Toshido update, but it has yet to arrive to this day. We won't know, honestly. There's been a lot of things in the game that I will say, this is player side like quality, and I don't doubt anyone, or I don't shame anyone for being upset at this, that it's not in the game yet. It seems like they're under a lot of stressors from IP restrictions and trying to keep Japan happy and stuff like that. So along with making these incredibly in-depth kits, I don't blame them particularly for sort of slacking in this regard. It seems like they're really working hard, but the reason I can say that is because the emulation controller support is already really good. I put a tutorial up. You can go find my tutorial on your controller if you're using BlueStacks especially. I have an entire tutorial where it's my first Bleach Soul Resonance video where I said, hey, if you're playing Bleach Soul Resonance day 1, here is your tutorial guide. You can look that up on my channel. But yeah, it is sad that it's not-native. Hopefully we'll get that fairly soon. If it's not there, then I mean, it's unfortunate though. I am not too mad at them, sadly. I find it in my heart not to be too upset with them, just because I feel like they're doing a really good job on this game, but it does suck. Is Aizen the best character to max out? Is he playable outside of Spirit teams? 13 replies here. I bet you guys can guess what the consensus is. Aizen is amazing by himself. So you can play Aizen as the main DPS on your team. He is incredibly powerful. You can see his stats balloon to incredible sizes. I have him at 56% crit rate, 4400 attack, 134% crit damage, and that is not even counting his stamp. I believe should be raising his crit rate. I could be wrong though. Sometimes the stamp factors into the actual ability, sometimes it doesn't, but I will just say that he is incredibly high crit rate. He has insane amounts of damage that he can also pass off, things like crit damage bonus boosts, and you can run him with Yotahara as well as Momo as a general support and have him be your main DPS. You can have him literally be sub DPS on any team you want. He has no restrictions. Aizen is pretty easily the best character in the game, followed by Yotahara to me currently, with Gin, Toshido, and Bankai Ichigo being the remaining slots. It makes sense to the SSR characters that are pullable outside of Yotahara, who is just a unicorn. But yeah, you should just... Aizen's the best. He's really strong. He works everywhere. Can't get past Kenpachi for about 3k points with this team. Skill issue are just still too underleveled. All have weapon and core stamp. Only Yotahara B1, thrust B guys B0. I've heard that I should have saved their ultimate for Kenpachi's charge attack, but I'm only at 50 seconds left at the stage, so I'm not even sure if I have enough time to burst Kenpachi down. Let's take a look at this. In a second. So what do we see here? Yeah. Interesting. No one quite at that. So everyone at 75, just under 30,000 is pretty good. I said it before, if you're free to play, 25,000 to 30,000 is about the cutoff point for these characters, I'd say. But we'll see. Let's get a little more information. So I think one of the larger issues that is sort of being swept under the rug when it comes to characters in Bleach Soul Resonance is how they take up their time on field. While Ikaku is certainly not so much worse that he's basically unplayable and you can't skip someone like Gin, I would say that Ikaku's one major flaw is that he takes a lot of time on field, a lot of big winding animations, a lot of animations where he can actually get hit or hit out of. And that is sort of his biggest weakness to me, at least as a character. One thing I could imagine if you're playing Ikaku into the Kenpachi fight is that you're not saving your ultimate until you can sort of use it as free, timeless damage. That is a big thing. Gin is great because every time he does one of these attacks, he could technically just be switching out. And his ultimate particularly cuts through the Aizen phase while also providing, impale damage when his allies are on the field. You're not going to have that luck with Ikaku, right? It's going to be one of those things that is just tougher for you naturally. So I wouldn't be surprised if given Kenpachi 4, Kenpachi 5, and I know this was from a week ago, so this fight is no longer even up, but I want to talk about it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you struggle trying to knock down this fight just because we obviously have the issue of time on field, and I would look to really be aware of this. Do trials when a new character drops. Please don't just start pulling. Actually do the trial, see what the character does and feel them out a little bit, because one thing I noticed immediately with Gin is that his ability to swap out is the thing that makes him as powerful as he is to me. Yes, he has numbers. Yes, Impale is just a ridiculous mechanic, but you also don't even need to be attacking with Gin to be maximizing a lot of his kit. It's the fact that he is so selfless on field that makes him sort of the next big, DPS. If Gin had all of the problems of Ikaku, if Gin had all of the sort of selfishness of Ikaku, we wouldn't really be talking about him in the same way we do Aizen and Toshido and Ichigo, right? We'd be like, yeah, this guy's pretty good, but he has a few too many seconds of just waiting for his attacks to end. Question for everyone. Which bond is best for Tosen? I was thinking the new ailment damage bond like Gin, but Tosen doesn't proc as much ailment damage when I look at the battle results. It's always the ults. I'm thinking the increase of all damage based on crit rate is best since I would be at the max for that as well. I would say yes to this. We can look. I mean, my Tosen is not particularly built, but we can just sort of get a rough estimate. I will say that Tosen, like they said, is not really doing the most ailment damage. He's not really proccing that often. This one I would consider just the most generic, you know, increase to 20% if you're at these caps. I mean, if you have nothing else, this just reads 20%. I have him on this one, increases all damage by 10% during battle. When equipped by a tactic character, increases an extra 25% battlefield skill damage. This will hit his both levels of his battlefield skill, both the one in Bankai and the one outside. And I felt it be very strong. Obviously, this one's just the recommended, but I feel like you can't really go that wrong. It's just that the benefit of this one is for characters like Gin and perhaps even Rangiku in a day here. She will also like this. It'll depend on what her kit actually looks like, but yeah, I would definitely consider just using this one if you have it. You should have it, I'd imagine, unless you like just started. If not, the crit rate one is just generic and good. When I'm at 100% for the next drop in the stamp corridor, should I use 1x or 5x? How is it different? Let's actually check out the results for this one, because I was asking this question too. If sitting on 100%, your next stamp corridor is guaranteed to give you a core stamp, whether you choose 1x or 5. The thing to note with 1, 2, 3, or 5 is that they simply speed up the progress as much number represents a run. As an example, if 1x represented 4% progress on the next guaranteed meter, then 5x represents 20%. As the game grows and everyone becomes more accustomed to it, learning the ins and outs, we'll all grow a better understanding of how core stamps works. Let's go to this one. Use 5x. The game itself has text telling you when it's guaranteed that using a multi gives you a higher chance at rainbow boxes. We don't know the exact higher chance, but higher chance, still higher chance. So why not go for it? This is what I kind of understand. Is anyone else saying it? No one answers this question here, so I'll find it as a mega thread. I'm just betting no one who has read my question has the answer. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this person is right, but it's not confirmed 100%. I try my best to always use 5x. I will say that. And I will say I've never gotten a double rainbow drop on 1x or 2x or 3x, but I've gotten double rainbow drops on 5x. So there's my confirmation bias. Should I still put for Gin if I'm saving for Ulquieta? I don't have Kaname, but I have every other SSR for reference, so I could use Gin and Aizen if I do pull him. Let me just see what someone says. Considering the next two characters very much looking to be a Grimjaw and then Nell, judging by data mine info, you have a lot of time to save for Ulquieta even after getting Gin. I would also say, and this is the big thing, if you don't have Tosen, but you do have Ikkaku, I think Gin pairs so well with Aizen that you could consider them sort of a package duo, in the same way that we thought that Toshido and Aizen were sort of going to be this package. We thought that Aizen was just going to be this insane spirit buffer, and that he would sort of be necessary for Toshido. What ended up happening is that Aizen is just so insane that it almost kind of feels like Toshido isn't even needed on his own team. Like, that's kind of the insanity of Aizen, right? So I would argue that Gin plays a more pivotal role when it comes to supporting a character like Aizen. Also, if we're going off of data mines, then we know that Kenpachi could be near, Nell could be near, Grimjaw could be near, and Ulquieta is just sort of in the breeze. The big thing about character like Ulquieta is I would consider him almost like Aizen. I think there will be a little more obvious build up to an Ulquieta release than there will be to a Soifun release, a Mayuri release, a new Tosen or SSR Renji or something like that, right? I think Ulquieta will be pretty obvious unless they really decide to surprise us. But again, this is about 5 days ago, so hopefully they made the choice that fits them. But I do think that Gin is incredibly worth getting. This character makes the game feel like baby mode. Can Tosen wound crit like Gin's Impale? I actually have no idea. I feel like yes, but don't take me on that. I'm really new to the game. Are there any important tips to keep in mind? Also, which character should I select on the standard gacha? Thanks. Yeah, a few good tips to keep in mind. We've already gone over one. Once you get to the point where you're able to star up, be very particular with how you use this. Okay? Be very particular with how you use this. That is a must-have, must-hoard resource. Tip 2. When it comes to gear, don't be afraid to just, you know, level up gear early. I mean, you need to get through the story. You need to get through events. You need to try your best to sort of place and, you know, get the rewards for actually doing the content. Don't be afraid to just go into the training drills and send it, man. Just, you know, go in there. You don't have to worry about getting the most rewards ever. You don't have to worry about, you know, crushing the fight or anything like that. Just get the rewards that you can. It's way too much to be missing out on. Top 99% is still 80. Top 100 is 100. You know what I mean? Just do the fights. Same thing here. Just do them to your best of your ability, right? I mean, you can see that I'm even being a little bit lazy about it. I've been playing some Arknights Enfield, if you've been wondering. So I've been a bit lazy about these, but I do plan to at least try to get the Byakuya one done before this 3-day period, mostly because my Ikaku fight is going to be god-awful, and I literally just don't have characters for it, so we will be trying to get the Byakuya done, but yeah. Make sure you're buying out your shop as you sort of start generating Koban. I would not really suggest any of these weapons. You will get these from pulling, and you will be pulling a lot. I would suggest grabbing the tickets as you can, grabbing the stamp nexus, please, as you can. I did pull Sword in the Hand. Literally, this was like day 3 or something, so, you know, please do as I say, not as I do, but that was a long time ago. I was trying to do a Shikai, like, I remember I was trying to do the Slash mission in Tower. I was literally trying to do this, and I was trying to do it as best as I can, but I've just decided to stop raising Shikai Ichigo and wait. As far as pulling goes, the character you want from this banner is this guy. It's Kisuke Urahara every time. It's no one else. It's not even close to being anyone else. Urahara is so good that if I was really unkind to the rest of the cast, I would say Urahara is 3 times better than everyone else on this banner. But that's just me. If I was to be really uncharitable to them. I want to know if I get the dupe material from BP, which one I should from limited core stamps dupe. Especially, I want the stamp that adds crit. I don't need more than A2 or A3 because you get everything eventually. I want to give Togin versus Toshido. Which one gets more from their A2? Okay, so I will say, I don't know enough about this. Honestly, I can't answer this one. I'm brand new to the game and plan to pull for Gin, since from what I've seen, I missed Aizen, don't know what are the future characters. With that being said, should I use selector banners for Tosen and Tosen's stamp? Yes. If you plan, here's like another rule, and maybe we'll sort of just like close this out soon, because this video is going pretty long. Here's another quick and fast like gotcha rule. You need teams. You need to focus in on teams and make teams. Let me actually go to the list. That way this is like more apparent, but you need to actually make teams. You can't just like do what we sort of do in Dokkan, which is we put the best characters on the team and then, you know, the best characters will best character. You actually do need to like make teams that are based on elements, or make teams that are based on strong synergies like this one, and then, you know, having a roaming support, or, you know, we can make teams that are sort of subversive in that we run like 2 tactics, but we're actually running like actually a tactic as our main damage dealer, and then we're running like a double support lineup, right? Or we're running, you know, something to that degree, right? We understand that these characters actually do need other characters. Like they can't really function alone entirely, especially if you want to start placing. This is not the same if you just want to clear content. If you just want to clear PvE, adventure, and, you know, story mode and stuff like that, this isn't as important. You're just putting your strong characters there. But once you start needing to actually clear the content of the game, once you start wanting to sort of like place and see how good your account is, you actually do need to be aware of your team. So take, for instance, this my Yuri run. I know in my head that I can't do the slash one. The reason I can't do the slash one is because I don't have a support for my thrust team, and I don't have a main DPS when it comes to slash. I'm still waiting on Kenpachi or a rerun of Bankai Ichigo, or, you know, just something else, right? Because of that, I use Urahara on my thrust team. That means it frees up my strike team, because I will not use Urahara here. Instead, I'll use Nemu here. this is the crux of the mono team sort of gameplay loop, right? As far as who you should pull with your, like, you know, selector, whoever you want. You'll get all of them eventually. I literally got all of them, and you're just going to. Like, it is what it is. I would say always get Yodahara first, though. Anything else here that's really interesting? I think we're done here. I think we're sort of done here. We're 6-starring, had bad luck with the 2 rolls on ult charge. Let's give it a look. This will be the last one. Crit damage, charge rate. No. I would personally not 6-star this. A lot of people would, and I think that's where me and other people differ. This is going to be one of the big, like, points to make, is how much of a stickler are you with gear? When I first start the game, I use my materials. Once I'm sort of settled in and I'm coasting, 6-starring this piece of gear is going to cost you more than the time you spend on worse gear. Does that make sense? You're on worse gear, but in the long run, you're making more once you do actually hit a piece you want to 6-star. Maybe it won't even be on Geen. Maybe your Geen will just be sort of done, and you're going to get a new character, you're going to be farming their set, and you're like, I need to 6-star this, and then you have the materials for it. I don't think this piece is good enough. I think ultimate charge rate was a very appealing stat at the start, but outside of specific characters like Yodahara, I think I just want my damage units to just be pumping big damage, and I don't really think that Geen's ultimate contributes to his overall damage like someone like Aizen or Yodahara giving his damage to people, or, you know, maybe Bankai Ichigo even. So that's just me. A lot of times Geen's ultimate is just like a add-on. It's a nice little bonus, but it's not really what's doing the most damage. It's him cycling his technique. So yeah. Whew. That felt good. That felt good. I'm going to try to do more of these if you guys enjoy them. So give me a heads up if you liked it. Big long video for you guys heading into Rangiku's release. But we got Mr. Beast in the world chat. Maybe he's going to give me $1 million someday. With all that being said, though, I've been Lone. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to join the club. We all go make it. And peace.